Hey, it's me, Jeanette, again from OpenSclicks Cash. I'm the digital content manager here, and today we're going to be talking about part two of how you can use your CRM system for internal tasks and some project management stuff. But before we get started, make sure you go ahead and like this video, share it on your social media platforms, and if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe now because every Wednesday and Friday we drop new videos showing you how to grow your business with digital marketing. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you were here for last week's part one of this video series, you know that we created a system for entrepreneurs who are out and about networking, meeting prospects, and maybe they don't have enough time in that moment to go into full details about, their business offers and how they can help, but they do at least exchange information. So we created a system that would allow that entrepreneur to follow up with the prospect and try to get them on a call, right? A discovery call. So we sent out a few emails with a link to set up a meeting via Zoom. All right, so now for part two, we're going to talk about what happens after that discovery call, okay? So we're going to do a few things. So as the entrepreneur, we're going to pretend that during the first discovery call, we told the prospect that we were going to follow up, with some more information. So it's just going to be a basic PDF. I was just thinking about this because we have another client who, when she's following up with her prospects, she sends out a PDF form, go into more detail about her products and stuff. So I thought that would be a good example to use here for today's video. So the first email is going to be kind of a recap of the discovery call, as well as that PDF that was promised in the discovery call. And then from there, we will give them a few days to respond. And we're going to kind of just try to get them back on the calendar to talk about next steps. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. Let's hop inside of Entreport and get started. Okay, so now here we are inside of Entreport. The very first thing we're going to do now is we are going to create another internal form that you as an entrepreneur would fill out after you meet with the prospect over the discovery call, okay? So this form is going to be very similar to the first one, except this time, of course, you have more information because you actually sat down with them for a discovery call. So I'm going to head over to Pages. Up at the top menu, it's usually over to the far right. So I'm going to click on Pages, and I'm going to go down to the page I created for this. I already did this because I wanted us to be able to get through it. But as you can see, it's really a super simple form. And basically, I am going to add their name, last name, email again, all that stuff, and their phone number, as well as the area of marketing they're interested in, and then what we discussed. I also added these two fields. So I'm adding what are your business goals? And then the last question I added is what's the name of your business? So I'm pretending as though on the discovery call, the entrepreneur has promised this person, hey, after we end our call, I'm going to send you a PDF detailing my services and how I think that I can help you with your business goals based on the information that you've shared during this call, right? So this internal form is going to help you stay organized and kind of come up with a game plan for your prospect so that you can follow up with them. Okay, so this is already published, but I'm just going to do it again for good measure. And then we're going to hop over into automations and build out that system. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so here we are inside of automations. First thing we're going to do, of course, is click on this orange button for a new automation. Then we are going to click at the top where it says start from scratch. And I will go ahead and give this automation a quick name. Okay. All right, so now, of course, the first thing that we do when we are building out an automation is we have to decide what happens if someone is added to this map manually. And in this case, no one will be added manually. The only way to get on this map is by filling out that second internal form, which we just went over. So where it says what happens next, I just went in there and I'm going to put an end, and then I'm going to click on end and remove them from the map. All right, so then you can click on this arrow where it says add a trigger. And then, of course, this trigger is going to be that the form has been submitted. So let me find the form really quick. Here it is. And then I'm sorry, I didn't go over the settings. So on the left-hand side, it says for the settings, who can activate this trigger? Any contact in the account? Yes, that is correct. If the contact is already on the map, then what should we do? Should we ignore? Yes, we should. Okay, so since it's you filling this out on behalf of the prospect, I don't think that you would be filling this out more than once. As soon as you're done with that discovery call, you fill out the form and that's it, right? Or unless something happens. But okay, I'm going to click done here. And then the very next thing that would happen is there would be a wait. So I'm not going to put a wait here because, once I go through and test this at the end of the video, I don't want this wait to hold us up. So I'm going to skip this and I'm just going to go to the next step. But you probably will have a wait for maybe an hour or two. It could be even the next day or the next week. It just depends on how the discovery call went, what makes sense for your business, and, what's reasonable, because you don't want to follow up with somebody the next day if you're so incredibly, overwhelmed that you won't even be able to respond if they did. So, okay. The next thing we're going to do is send an email. And this email, like I said, this is just going to be a basic recap email. I already have it in here. And basically, I'm not even going to open it. It's just something I literally threw together. Matter of fact, I can show you a preview, but it was just a quick email. But the point of this email in my example was for this entrepreneur to follow up with their prospect with a recap of the meeting, as well as a simple PDF form that goes into more depth about, what they offer as a business and how they can help grow that person's business, or rather help them to achieve their goal, whatever their goal is, because that's going to be discussed in the discovery call anyway, right? So now that you know more about them, you know what they want to do and what they're trying to accomplish, you can really put together something that speaks to their needs and kind of, sells them on your services or products. But that's just the email. So, all right, we're going to send them this email and then we'll click done. We are going to put a wait in between emails. So email 1 is going to go out, after a certain amount of time. You have to decide that. And then email 2, we'll give them 3 days. So after 3 days, and if they don't, click on the link, then we are going to go ahead and email them again, right? So the second email, again, I did already write this, so I'm not going to go through that, but I do have one here. And then once these 2 emails go out, what happens next is we are going to add a goal here. So, and mind you, you don't have to send out 2 emails. So, depending on your workflow, you might want to follow up with them 3 times, 5 times. You might want to follow up with them 1 and done. So it just depends if you think, it makes sense to continue emailing them after you do so twice or 1 time. I just put 2 for good measure. So the goal here would be that they clicked an email link. And of course, I would need to add that email that I just put. So I'm going to put link 0. Link 0 means any link in the email. And of course, in this case, there would only be 1 anyway. So instead of this one, of course, I just made a copy, but I'm going to add that second email here. Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't go through the settings. I do this so much that sometimes I forget that I'm teaching people. So, okay, the settings on the left say, who can achieve this goal? Any contact on the map? Yes, that's absolutely true. And if the contact is already on the map, then what should we do? We should move them here. That is correct. So basically what that means, if they get email 1 and they click on the link in email 1, we want them to come down to the goal. We do not want them to get email 2, right? The only way you can get email 2 is if you don't click in email 1. All right, so I have my 2 goals here, and just so you can see, goal, let me see. I don't know why it's not letting me in. Oh, here we go. All right, so just so you can see, goal number one is set up the same way. So any contact on this map can achieve this goal. And then if they do achieve it, then we're going to move them here as soon as that happens. So I just wanted to go in because I was moving too fast. I didn't show you that. Okay, so what's going to happen after? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send myself a notification. So Entreport does have a search. So you can just search notify. Here we go. Notify with email. And then for the second, what happens next box, I'm just going to put a go to. And then I'm going to connect it to this notify with email. It doesn't make sense for me to do this whole thing in both, streams of elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly notify myself as an entrepreneur that the person has clicked, right? So that way we know that they're really interested and possibly want to move forward. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so where it says notify, you would put notify me. And then where it says with, and you would just select the name of the email, or you could do new message and write your email right here from the automation. I do have the email ready. It was very basic, no need to go into it. But essentially, this email would just be like, hey, this person, and it would have their name. Matter of fact, let me just show you. Preview. Hey, just a heads up that Jeannette Holliday has opened your proposal. Okay, so depending on your workflow, oh, I clicked edit on accident. Sorry. All right, depending on your workflow, you would have a lot more information in this email just to kind of jog your memory maybe and kind of give you a heads up about what it is that they need and how you promise to deliver to them. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and come back up to this weight because as you can see, goals always come with a weight. And right now, this automation map is giving them forever to click on these links, but we don't want to give them that long, okay? So I'm going to click on this weight. And instead of it saying forever, I'm going to do some time passes. And let's just give them a week. I think that's enough time for someone to review the information and decide if they want to work with you or not. So if they don't, what we're going to do is for what happens next, we will add a tag and we'll just call them non-responsive. Okay, so we're going to add our non-responsive tag. And then we are going to remove them from the map. And click done. Okay, so now once you notify yourself and you say, hey, this person has looked at your proposal. Now, assuming that the proposal is very detailed about the next steps as far as, this is what we can do, this is how we can help you achieve your goals. Now, if you want to move forward, contact me at blah, blah, blah. It could be an email, it could be, call me at this number. It could be, click this link to go to this form. It depends on, what your process is internally. But that form that you're sending them to follow up would give them those next steps. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to end this automation here because I think once you notify yourself, you're kind of just waiting to see what they decide to do. Now, again, you can follow up with them and say, hey, I noticed that you looked at the proposal. Do you have any final thoughts and questions? Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. I think that's, that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and delete this. Wait. I was moving too fast and added that weight. But I will say that what happens next probably will be a wait because we don't even know what time they're going to click on these links or anything like that. So after you notify yourself of what happened, you might want to wait maybe a day and email them the next day or something like that. But I think it's just good to notify yourself so that you kind of have an idea of what happened. Like sometimes you have discovery calls with people and you're just chasing them around. You don't know what they're thinking or if they're interested or what's going to happen next. But if you set up a goal and you're like, hey, if they click this link, I know that they're serious. Okay. It means that they read the email, they know what's on the PDF, they know, what I told them I was going to be sending them. So that's a good indication that they are serious and they're interested. So once they go ahead and click, you can go ahead and email them, but there probably will be a wait. Again, I'm not going to do a wait because once we go through the testing process, it'll just slow us down. So I'm going to do send an email, and then we are going to do a new message because I actually hadn't thought about this. So it'll be a new message. And we are calling this internal form 2. And this is going to be email 4. We already have email 3. So I'm going to do save and edit. And this email, like I said, is just going to say, what do you think? First name. All right. So this email is just going to say, hey, Jeannette, I'm sending you this email to say again how nice it was to meet you, and to make sure that I have answered please let me know if you let me know what you think about my proposal and if you would like to move forward. All right, so of course you will just sign off. Like I said, this is just for an example. Always remember that you can use the AI assistant if you need help writing your emails. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and save. And at this point, you are just kind of leaving the ball in their court. I think any further follow-up at this point might be slightly overkill. Um, you've given them everything that you can. So I'm going to go ahead and put a weight here. We're gonna, let's say, give them, oh, I'm just giving them 30 days. The only reason I'm giving them 30 days is because you might want to come back to this automation just to see who's still hanging out here, who's like, not making a move, every now and then, sometimes people like to come back to their automation maps and see who is still on the map, right? So if they're just hanging out here for 30 days and they're kind of just not, you know, showing any interest or, following up with you based on the instructions that you gave them in that other email, then you know that it's probably not going to happen. But again, this wait is totally optional. It's just something that I probably would do if I was building this out for myself or the company's, OpenClicks Cash. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to publish it. And now we can go ahead and test it. So of course, I'm going to test it by first filling out this form. And this form, again, is being filled out by the entrepreneur about the prospect after that first discovery call. And then for part 3 of this series, we're going to do a follow-up based on someone who says, yes, I'm ready to move forward. they reach out and they follow your instructions on, the next steps. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next week. But for now, let's go ahead and test this out and go from there. Okay, sorry. So before we fill out the form, I just wanted to show you that I thought of something. I'm not going to be able to fully test this automation without adding a link. So initially I was thinking, well, I'm just doing this as an example to give them an idea of how the workflow should, happen. But the goals will not be able to be achieved if I don't add a link. So I added a link to the email. It's all good to go. So now we can hop over and complete the form and go from there. So let's go ahead and do that now. I got my thank you page, so I know that Entrepreneur did receive it. And before we jump into the automation, I'm going to check my email so that we can make sure that the email was received. Okay, because once we get that email, we're able to click the link and then the automation will show that, of course, those goals were achieved and that the email that is going to be notifying me as the entrepreneur that, this person did look at the proposal and all that, that's going to come. And as that last email to them saying, hey, do you have any final questions? So once I click on that link that comes to the email, the rest of that workflow would be triggered. So let's go ahead and check the email first, and then we'll go back into Entreport. All right, so here we are inside of my email. As you can see, I did get the email. So, basically it's saying, thank you so much for meeting with me. Here is the PDF I promised you. So I'm going to go ahead and click the link. This was just a generic link, so please do not pay attention to that. I just needed a link in the email. So now we can hop inside of Entreport, and then we'll come back to the email in a second to make sure we receive those other two emails. So actually, well, the other one email. So the email that is going to notify me that my prospect, looked at the link is going to actually go to my personal email. So I have to pull up a totally separate account, but I will still show you that once I pull it up. So you will see that my contact did hit the map. You see two here because I tested this once before the video as well. Well, before this clip. And so you can see that my one person is here. They should be moving shortly because I did click that link. So let's just give Entreport a second to get cooking, and then we will check back. All right, so I did get the email. So this is the email basically that tells the prospect, hey, I'm sending this to you again just to say how, how nice it was to meet you. Make sure I've answered all your questions. Please let me know what you think about my proposal and if you would like to move forward. Okay, so that email did go out, and I wanted to show you that my notification email came as well. So again, this is just a notification from Entreport that we set up to let us know, hey, just as a heads up, Jeannette Waters has opened your proposal. I did get the notification email. I'm just not sure why it came through looking like that. So anyway, the automation does work. There was just some kind of glitch with the final email here, but the automation itself did work. So I'm going to pull it back up here. All right, so we have my person who, the prospect who clicked on the link. Like I said, we did give them 30 days, okay? And that's just because we're giving the entrepreneur, the person that owns the account, time to come in and kind of check to see who actually did click the link as if they were interested, but they never actually followed up with me after that. So that's just kind of, my thinking behind adding this 30-day wait. But other than that, you can see that the automation worked, everything went through, and it's all set to go. So I really hope that you enjoy part 2 of this video series where we talked about how an entrepreneur can use their CRM system for internal processes. We are going to do a third video, and that video is just going to be, how you can use your CRM to onboard new clients. So we're going to pretend as if the prospect did agree and follow up and they signed on, and we're just going to walk through that final process of onboarding them and, kind of, what that looks like. So please let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, anything that you would like for me to explain in more detail, or any other videos that you want to try to figure out how to do inside of your CRM. We will definitely figure it out together, okay? Thank you so much for watching.